This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines. President Trump plans on speaking with Russian President Vladimir Putin on the phone. Police say the man who went on a fatal stabbing spree at the University of Texas had mental illness issues. ABC late-night host Jimmy Kimmel gets emotional on his show last night.
Hello and welcome to Matador News. I'm Adam Hajost.
And I'm Alma Gonzalez. Russian President Vladimir Putin and President Trump are speaking in the first public phone call since tension over the American missile strike on Syria. German Chancellor Angela Merkel met with Putin earlier today to discuss the crisis in Ukraine and Syria. Trump's position on Russia changed when news came out of possible ties between the president's associates and Russia during last year's election. Trump and Putin are both currently under investigation by the FBI.
President Trump says he would be honored to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Trump said he would meet him under the right circumstances and called him a smart cookie. Press Secretary Sean Spicer said the U.S. needs to see changes in North Korean behavior before a possible meeting.
The president's going to do what he has to do right now. He's building a coalition in the region to isolate North Korea, both economically and diplomatically, to get the threat, to take that threat down.
Trump also invited President Rodrigo Duterte to the White House, giving a phone call made on Saturday. Duterte is known for insulting world leaders and violence against drug addicts.
President Trump treats that government needs a good shutdown. This came after a bipartisan Congress decision not to pass many of Trump's campaign promises funding the Mexican border wall. Government shutdowns have required furloughs of several 100,000 federal employees, required cessation or reduction of many government activities, and affected numerous sectors of the economy. A Congress shutdown would also be a defeat for the Republican Party.
The May Day protests have thousands of people participating across the country for International Workers' Day. Most protests have been peaceful, but some May Day protests along the West Coast have turned to violence. 25 people have been arrested in Portland, Oregon, after an anarchist group reportedly started to throw things at police. The objects thrown included rocks, bottles, and Molotov cocktails. Police say protesters also set fires in the streets and in garbage cans. In downtown LA, 2 people were arrested. One was arrested on suspicion of burning an American flag at a pro-Donald Trump rally, and another for throwing things. 15,000 people participated in the rallies throughout Los Angeles.
Texas police are looking for a motive in a stabbing attack that left 1 student dead and 3 injured. Police say suspect Kendrick White was suffering from mental health issues when walking around campus and randomly stabbed students with a hunting knife. The student killed Monday has been identified as Harrison Brown, a freshman who aspired a career in music. University of Texas President Gregory Fenves says there are no words.
Today at the University of Texas, we are in mourning, and we are hurting as a university community. Yesterday, one of our students was killed in a senseless act of violence on our campus. His name was Harrison Brown.
Fenves urged students and staff to support the victims and reassured them that there were no ongoing threats on campus.
Police in San Diego say a depressed gunman had a beer in one hand and a gun in the other when he opened fire at a birthday party. Police say shooter Peter Sellis was depressed over a recent breakup and called his ex-girlfriend so she could hear the gunfire. The shooting began when a man celebrating his 50th birthday approached Sellis to join the party. Sellis instead pulled a gun out and shot the party host twice in the torso. 6 of the shooting victims are expected to survive. 1 woman was taken to the hospital where she later died in surgery.
A man suspected of setting brush fires in San Bernardino County yesterday has been detained. Sheriffs responded to calls about a man carrying a weapon and attempting to set fires near the 18th and the 138 highway intersection. Concerned the suspect was armed, deputies evacuated and shut down Highway 18 to set up a perimeter. Benjamin Baptist was captured and treated for burns to his hands and arms and has been booked on several counts of arson. One of the fires has been extinguished while the other is reported to be about 80% contained as of this morning.
America's largest oil refinery is now fully owned by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Aramco used to have 50% ownership of the refinery alongside Royal Dutch Shell. Aramco completed their deal to take control of Port Arthur in Texas on Monday. Despite Trump's efforts to keep foreign oil competitors out of the U.S., Aramco will be getting the exclusive rights to sell Shell-branded gas and diesel in parts of the U.S.
Los Angeles grew by over 40,000 people. Matador News reporter Katherine Molina has more in the newsroom.
Moving to the Golden State has its perks, but it also has its downfall. A report released by the California Department of Finance says the state has added about 335,000 residents last year, with the largest increases in big cities. CSUN student Daniel Laurie and staff Irving Gario says Los Angeles is overcrowded.
It's an attractive place to live, so a lot of people are flocking here to enjoy all the benefits, Hollywood, the weather, all the perks that come with it, but when they get here they realize it's kind of overcrowded, overpopulated, and that's driving the costs for a lot of things up.
It's good for work opportunities, but not so good in terms of, how am I going to make a living and where am I going to live. I think the big challenge here, as opposed to other big cities, is the housing issue. A place like New York City, everything's expensive. So you're thinking housing, transportation, food. But here the housing, if you don't have adequate housing, and if you don't live close to where you work, it's extremely challenging.
Last year, California added nearly 90,000 new housing units, but still did not meet the needs of California residents. California has some of the highest home prices in the country, but that's still not keeping Daniel and Irving from moving anytime soon. Now let's go back to Alaysia, Navarro with the latest in entertainment.
Talk show host Jimmy Kimmel gives an emotional opening monologue about his newborn son. Kimmel's wife Molly gave birth to their son William Billy Kimmel last Friday. However, he was diagnosed with heart problems shortly after he was born. Billy went into emergency surgery at Children's Hospital Los Angeles.
It's hard to explain. Basically, the pulmonary valve was completely blocked, and he has a hole in the wall between the left and right sides of his heart. And on Monday morning, Dr. Starnes opened his chest and fixed one of the two defects in his heart. He went in there with a scalpel and did some kind of magic that I couldn't even begin to explain. He opened the valve, and the operation was a success. It was the longest 3 hours of my life.
Kimmel thanked every individual who helped out get his son back to health and gave support. Kimmel also touched on politics. He criticized Trump's proposal to cut health coverage. He declared that no one should be denied health insurance because of their financial status. Kelly Ripa has finally announced a new co-host for her morning talk show. After nearly a year of searching, Kelly's last co-host, Michael Strahan, left the show for a gig on ABC's Good Morning America. Television personality Ryan Seacrest just signed on as Ripa's permanent counterpart. The show will now be called Live with Kelly and Ryan. This is a big move for Seacrest, who lives in Los Angeles. He'll be relocating to New York for the show, but plans to continue hosting his radio segments on LA's Kiss FM and Weekly American Top 40. His plan is to broadcast from New York. The annual fundraising gala held at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York sported an avant-garde dress code. A-listers arrived Monday in fashion inspired by Japanese designer Ro Kawakubo. Kawakubo's designs are featured in the exhibition and challenge conventional notions of beauty. The museum is devoting an entire show to her, which has not been done since designer Yves Saint Laurent. Celebrities like Katy Perry walked the red carpet in confidence and out of this world fashion. One goal Kawakubo says she has for her designs is to get women to do a double take. The 2017 Tony Award nominations are here, and many critics of the Broadway world say the competition is fierce. The top awards, Best New Musicals, suspected to be a showdown between Dear Evan Hansen and Come From Away. Broadway heavy hitters Laurie Metcalf, Cate Blanchett, Laura Linney, Sally Field, and Jennifer L. are all nominated for Best Actress. The pop opera Natasha Pierre and The Great Comet of 1812 was nominated for a 12 Tonys, the most this year. The 71st Tony Awards ceremony is scheduled for June 11th and will be hosted by House of Cards' Kevin Spacey. Now let's go to Melanie Rosales for the latest in sports.
Baltimore Orioles outfielder Adam Jones was subject to racial slurs on Monday night against the Red Sox. Jones also had a bag of peanuts thrown at him while being on the field. The Red Sox organization issued a public apology to Jones early this morning. They said no player should have an object thrown at him or on the field or should be subjected to any kind of racism. Boston Mayor Mary Walsh said that the actions of the fans were unacceptable, and now what the city represents, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker tweeted that the Fenway fans' behavior was shameful. The Dodgers lost a close one to the San Francisco Giants yesterday 4-3. The Dodgers had a 4-game winning streak going into the game Monday night. The Giants scored off a 2-run shot by Hunter Pence in the first inning and a solo drive by Buster Posey in the third. Giants pitcher Johnny Cueto retired 13 consecutive batters after the Dodgers tied it at 2 apiece. Dodgers 3-time Cy Young award-winning pitcher Clayton Kershaw said that he didn't have a great night. The Dodgers play the Giants again tonight at 7:10. The second round of the NBA playoffs continued yesterday with some great games. The Cavaliers beat the Toronto Raptors 116-105. LeBron James led the way with 35 points and 10 rebounds. Kyrie Irving had 24 points and 10 assists, along with Kevin Love's 18 points and 9 rebounds to help lead the Cavs to victory. Raptors point guard Kyle Lowry had 20 points and the 11 assists in the loss. The Rockers beat the San Antonio Spurs at home 126-99. Six Rocket players scored in double figures, led by Trevor Ariza, 23 points, and James Harden's 20 points, 14 assists. Clint Capelli also had 20 points and 13 rebounds. MVP hopeful Kawhi Leonard had 21 points and 11 rebounds in the loss. A last-minute shot was by Washington Kevin Shattenkirk extended the Capitalist season last night. Shattenkirk scored the goal 3 minutes into the overtime that eventually lifted the Capitals to a 3-2 victory over the Pittsburgh Penguins. With the win, the Capitals avoid elimination and now have the chance to tie the series. The Eastern Conference Series takes a turn in the wrong direction for the Penguins as the star player Sidney Crosby may not play another game. Washington's Niskanen cross-checked Crosby to the head. The NHL's leading scorer did not return in the Game 3. It's uncertain whether Crosby will return for Game 4 for the rest of the postseason. Now let's go back to Alaysia with the latest in business.
The Writers Guild of America has reached a tentative deal with producers this morning. The new agreement will provide an increase in pay and better the union's health plan. This 3-year contract prevented a strike that would have had a negative impact on an industry that employs 240,000 people. The last time the Guild went on strike was 10 years ago. It lasted 100 days, and the California economy lost about $2 billion. Fox News co-president Bill Shine has resigned. Shine has been accused of covering up sexual and racial discrimination claims against former chief executive Roger Ailes and recently fired host Bill O'Reilly. Fox News executive Suzanne Scott will take Sean's spot. Now let's go back to Melanie with the latest in health.
Lawmakers are getting ready for this week for a possible vote on the new healthcare bill. Over a month ago, the American Health Care Act, a bill to replace the Affordable Care Act, didn't get the votes to pass. House Speaker Paul Ryan says the bill will include coverage for pre-existing conditions.
So the purpose of our bill is to get more choices, to lower prices, while preserving the protections for pre-existing conditions.
President Trump said he hoped Congress would vote on it this week. Scientists in Pennsylvania have successfully made an artificial womb that they hope will help premature babies' chances of survival. They were able to grow premature lambs' fetuses for 4 weeks and hope this system will work for human babies in the future. The study leader's Alan Flake says how closely they have came to recreating an environment of the womb.
The first one is a circulatory system that goes through an oxygenator. So it's a connection through the umbilical cord vessels that allows blood to flow out of the fetus through the oxygenator and back into the fetus, exchange gas like the placenta does. And then the other component is a fluid environment that surrounds the fetus and allows the fetus to swallow and breathe amniotic fluid like it's supposed to during development.
Around 10% of babies are born premature every year. Those Ohio quadruplets who got accepted to Harvard and Yale are all going to Yale. The brothers from Cincinnati say their visit at Yale went great and were offered good financial aid packages. Nigel Zachary, and Aaron Wade all revealed their choices on yesterday's NBC's Today Show. They all removed their jackets, showing off their Yale t-shirts. Now let's go to Emilyn Zazueta in the newsroom to learn more about how students can reveal stress during final season.
Finals are 2 weeks away, but CSUN has many events planned to help students cope with stress. USU Student Coordinator Freddie Martin says Crunch Time is happening from May 8th to the 18th.
So for finals week, we'll be hosting Crunch Time. It's an event that consists of 2 weeks. The first week we'll provide a massage therapist, and they'll be here giving students back massages, foot massages. And for the second week, we'll have free breakfast and coffee for students in the morning. And we'll also be providing students with Scantrons and green books to prepare them for their finals.
The Ovi Library will also be hosting events from May 13th to the 18th. And on May 15th, take a break from studying and come pet some puppies. CSUN student Luis Montoya tells us how he prepares for finals.
I try to schedule my study time and break it down and give myself enough time and study breaks in between. I also listen to music while I'm studying, and it kind of puts me in a study mood, and that's pretty much it.
For more information, visit the Ovia Library website. Now let's go back to the studio with Alma for the weather report.
It's another sunny spring day here at CSUN with the high expected to reach 90 degrees. Temperatures are expected to stay in the 80s and 90s throughout the week until clouds begin to roll in the late Friday. Showers and thunderstorms are a possibility this weekend and could last as long as Tuesday. Thank you for watching Matador News. I'm Alma Gonzalez.
I'm Adam Hajost.
I'm Melanie Rosales.
And I'm Alaysia Navarro. So we need to